Hey girl, hey, it's your girl Jay and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, thanks so much for sliding through, and if you're returning, welcome back, girl. So if you've been on my channel before, then you know that I am the self-proclaimed queen of the boho knotless braids. I know how to do them in every single style, every length, every color, and it all looks really, really good. So if you do want to see how to achieve this look or something similar, make sure that you do stay tuned. So I'm going to be working with a new company that I've never worked with before. The company is Wowafrican. First of all, can we just get into the details? I love a company that puts a lot of effort into the packaging that they send to people. I feel like that's a telltale sign of the quality that you're going to get like right off the bat. So in the packaging, they send us a whole bunch of goodies like combs and clips and stuff like that, but they also send us over 3 bundles of their 18-inch water wave hair. Now, I always say water wave hair is the hair that everybody wants but doesn't know what it's called. This is the perfect hair for like vacation or everyday use too, because it's very low maintenance. Like, it's not super curly, it's more of like a wave. So just add water and brush and you're good to go. So before we go any further, I do want to say thanks to Wowafrican for sponsoring today's video. Make sure you guys do go over to their website and check them out. They have a plethora of different hair styling options for you, and I'm sure you're gonna find something that you love. So let's get into the hair now. So the hairstyle that I have today, I would consider it to be extra full boho knotless braids. So if you were asking like a hair braider or you were going for a look and you didn't know what to ask for, that's exactly what you're gonna ask for. Now the size that we did a medium, which just means we have 5 rows across the top and then 2 rows below the ear. In total, I think we have about 60-ish, 60, maybe 62 braids or something like that. And so the total styling time for me, because it is so much hair, it did take me about 7.5, 8 hours. Now that's kind of similar to what it would take for me to braid someone else's hair, but of course when you're doing it yourself, it can take a little bit longer. But yeah, and so I did not do all the way like butt lift, but because I am 5'3", it is a little bit longer on me. But I do want to go ahead and get into the products and things like that we did use, and as always, they are going to be listed down in the description box for you as well. So for today's style, like I said, we did use a little over 2 bundles of the 18-inch water wave hair. I did use Magic Fingers Shine and Jam, my braiding rack, which makes separating the human hair like so much easier, and I did use my three-way mirror. People always ask me, do I like part my own hair? Yes, but it would not be possible without a three-way mirror, so invest in that, girl, if you don't do anything else. Aside from that, of course, combs and clips, which were all provided today by Wowafrican. And yeah, that's pretty much all you're gonna need for today. And patience, have some patience. On my channel, I like to help my girls save hundreds and hundreds of dollars by showing them how to do their hair themselves. So with that, you gotta have a little patience, girl. You're saving a coin, but you're saving a coin though, and that's what we wanna do. So yeah, so without further ado, I think we covered everything. Let's go ahead and get into the actual styling and everything. We're gonna start into parting. For people who have been looking for a more in-depth parting method, this is where you're gonna find that here. I am really going into things, but if you do wanna skip ahead and just see like what you're looking for, then you can find that down here and just skip to whatever, you know, you're looking for. But yeah, all right, let's get into it. As we all know, clean parts are going to be the most important part of doing your own hair. It's going to make the difference between your hair looking professionally done versus done in the depths of somebody's basement with the lights off. Anyway, so you want to start by parting directly down the middle of your head. This is going to be your line of reference when it comes to parting. When you have your three-way mirror, you can't really see everything ear to ear, but you can see from one ear to the middle part. So I always use this as like a line of reference. Now you might have to go over it a few times, but it's better to take your time here than to have to go back and do it later and everything's like off-centered or whatever. So take your time. Now, now you're gonna part from the tip of your ear to the middle part, like vertically, so up your actual head. Now go ahead and take that section and kind of get it out the way. And so you want to repeat that last step, just parting from the tip of your ear to the middle part horizontally. You see how it's like going across the bottom of your head now, and the other one was going up the top of your head. Same process, just find that middle part. Now you want to split the whole bottom section in half. And you can use the comb to kind of gauge how big the section should be. And don't forget, I have mountain peaks in my hairline, especially at the nape of my neck, so that's why it looks kind of uneven, and the bottom section looks kind of bigger, but it's gonna come out the same size in the end. And now we're going to repeat that same process like throughout that whole section. I use my comb to make sure like the rows are all of the same size, and you can do that all over your head. Now if you're doing smaller parts, then of course you can't use the comb, but for medium, rule of thumb, that comb is the exact size that you want your rows to be. It's like perfect. And so this last part is super easy. You're just going to use all of the parts from the previous section and kind of just like connect the dots. Now if you have a more like narrow forehead, this could look a little different on you, but it's still going to be super neat. Make sure that you're curving these parts more down and straight than like curving up. I know that if you tilt your head like straight forward, it's going to be easier to part as well. If you part like towards the side, you're going to find yourself kind of curving that part, but you want to keep it as straight as possible. And then just keep doing this all the way up the front of your head. And I'm just going to clean up that middle part. Now when it's all said and done, you should have 10 rows across the front of your head. Nice and neat, and my hairline is a little crazy, so that's why it looks a little uneven in some areas, but yeah, nice and neat. So it's always hard to pick which part I want to show because I could literally show you braid by braid, but this video will be like a million hours long. So I started with in the front because I really want to show you this process of adding the hair in at a really good point of view. So I'm just going to go ahead and begin my braid. I did one full braid function. And so are you seeing the size of the braiding hair that I'm feeding in, and that I am starting with braiding hair in the front and not starting with human hair? This is just because I want the thickness of the braid to be what I want it to be before I start adding in the human hair. So typically I add in 3 pieces per braid in the top and then add in another 3 to extend the length down. But since the hair right here is a little bit thinner, I did end up having to add in about 4 pieces of the braiding hair. So after we've done that, we're just going to continue to braid down, and then we're going to begin adding in the human hair. Now my human hair is laying on a braiding rack, so it makes it really easy for me to grab it. I went ahead and flipped my braid to a more comfortable position, and as you see, I just kind of fed that hair in from the back side. It's kind of going to be in between my middle finger and my index finger, if that makes sense. But yeah, feed it in from the back side and then just keep on going down. When you get to the frayed part, I kind of slow down just to make sure that I don't have any of those frayed edges sticking out. As you see, it's like a little piece there, but you can always cut that off. And as soon as we get to the end of that frayed piece, that's when I add in another piece. Now you can add in as much as you want, as soon as you want, but this is what I'm just going for here. I am adding in thicker pieces to give us a more fluffy look and to make it look more full as well. As far as how many pieces I added in some braids I added in about 8 or 9, some I did 11 or 12. It really depends on where I am on my head. In the back I didn't add in as much, and at the top I am adding in more. just so it's like a whole lot more full, you know. So remember I mentioned I normally only add in 3 pieces of the braiding hair, but because I only had 42-inch hair on hand, we have to extend that length. So I'm adding in 3 additional pieces of the braiding hair so the braid is longer and the size of the braid is more cohesive, like it's all the same size. And you won't even be able to tell that I added more braiding hair in. And then we're just going to continue to feed in the human hair. So I get asked all the time, do I curl the ends? Where I don't actually curl the ends, I just add braiding hair towards the end of the hair, so it's going to cover the ends. The ends are so thin that you're not even going to be able to see them for real. Yeah, girl, this is totally optional. You can use flexi rods, you can use foam rollers, whatever you prefer. And as we're closing in on the end, I just wanted to come and show you another point of view. Sometimes seeing it a few times is going to help. I'm going to shut up this time though and just let you watch. And this is the final braid. So watch me work, girl. We just have to dip really quick. As I'm dipping the hair, I can start to see like, okay, this is really, really good quality hair. It's not losing its curl or anything like that. As you see, it's still beautiful and fluffy. That is a telltale sign, girl. And just like that, this is our final look. I think it looks absolutely amazing. Like I said, this is the fluffiest hair that I've ever used. Like, it is so fluffy. Even with us wetting the ends, it's still so fluffy. It's like, it's really lightweight. You can tell like this is a really good quality of hair. Yes, make sure that you guys go check out Wowafrican. I love the quality of their hair. I never heard of them before, but they are definitely going to be added to my list of favorite hair brand companies. Y'all go check them out. And I will see you in the next video.